Grant Killian, the race director with the Untamed New England adventure race. It's a 4-day, 300-mile cross-country trek where teams of 4 racers are going to bike, they're going to paddle, they're going to trek, they're going to orienteer their way through the backcountry of some of the most remote corners of Maine and New Hampshire. So this first section is a real baptism by fire. The teams are not accustomed to having like the first leg of the race be probably the very toughest, but in this year we decided to make it that. They're going to have to trek 20 miles, backcountry wilderness, lots of rugged decisions and strategies trying to figure out how to get to these hard to find checkpoints off in the woods.
I am wondering how I'm going to manage wet feet for 4 days. That's going to be what makes or breaks people, I think.
It'll be really bad for the first 10 minutes, and then it'll get a little better. It's the life insurance policy. It's next to the fridge.
Yeah, Andy, go to the white birch.
One of the things about this route, if you get off course, say you turn north when you're supposed to turn south, you could be out there for 2 days or longer. That's why our rescue team, they're really mobilized, keeping close eye on all the teams for this stretch.
How's it going? This is Chris and Brian from the Hoosick Search and Rescue Team. We were contacted by Grant to see if we could help out with the race, and we're excited to have the race back here in Western Maine. They're deep in the middle of this section of wilderness is one of the toughest sections of this whole course. Finding someone in this wilderness would take quite a while.
Don't lose the clearing. You'll be in here for days. Woo! It's gonna be slow moving now. You want to stay left?
At TA1, it's CP9. Teams have been rolling in since 3 p.m. Weather has really drawn in throughout the day, making the latter part of this trek coming out of the mountains extremely challenging. Teams come in, they said that the nav was challenging. Now they're rolling out. They are going out on a 68-mile ride, mostly paved, about 2,500 feet of climbing up through an area called Evans Notch. They're going to head over that area, picking up, I think, 3 or 4 checkpoints. They'll end up at TA2, where they're going to hit their first paddle leg.
We have about 40 hardy volunteers. We'll be working throughout the week of the race, day and night, making sure the racers have a great time, and you'll see us everywhere.
Overnight, as the rain continued, the majority of teams were out on the paddle leg of the course.
Thank you, guys.
Have fun, be safe.
After a long wet night last night on the paddling leg, a lot of teams are expressing that they've got chafing and other moisture-related issues.
The rain was a little downpour.
I don't even know what it feels like to not be in the rain.
Hey, hey, hey.
We're talking about the 30-mile paddle section that came up after the first bike leg, and it was on the Saco River from Freiburg, Maine, down to Brownfield. And it's about 30 miles and tons of S-turns, lots of navigational challenges, and sometimes people forget which bend of the river they're on, which inlet they're seeing coming in, and it can be really tricky navigation. It's not just a paddle down the river singing songs. They are working hard to navigate, and if a team is at the right spot, they may have to get out of their boat to find the checkpoint that's in the woods just, a little out of sight. So they have to know exactly where they are.
Got it!
So now it's gonna be some food, get some clothes on,
Get to the pancakes.
take care of some bike maintenance because our bikes are angry after the wet ride last night. Then we're ready to go.
What do you think of these prune fingers, Dean?
A little bit of night, a little bit of day, and now we're done.
Folks are very wet, so we're taking care of a lot of feet and trying to get them dried out as much as possible, blister care. After the 30-mile paddle on the Saco, teams were back on their bikes navigating from Maine to New Hampshire through a variety of terrain, from pavement to dirt roads to single track. Now we're here at an orienteering course where they'll do a relay. So they were challenged initially as a team to travel in a pack of bikes. Here, some will get a little bit of a rest for a moment while individual members go out and find the flags here. You need your whole team to be able to navigate, because when you break a team up like this in an O relay, everyone's got to be on their point for navigation.
It's weird because I feel like already our team's been through a lot in this race, so it's funny to kind of like leave everybody in the lodge and just head out and do my thing. I will meet you on the other side.
I like spots like this where all the teams sort of gather up because you're here for a few hours, and so you get to kind of see everybody and hang out a little bit and get some pancakes and sleep. Let's just say I put some tape over the chafing that's not coming off for a long time.
Hey, it's Ishan Lai. I am a response team member at Shelterbox, which is an international disaster relief agency that provides essential shelter and life-saving items like mosquito nets and water purification to families who are in need of it most after their homes have been washed away by an earthquake or a flood or been taken away because of conflict. But today, we're here at the Untamed New England Expedition Adventure Race supporting the racers who have actually given back to us. They've done a tremendous amount of fundraising for us to the tune of over $17,000 to date. We're here at Pancake Paradise, which is where the racers are having a really nice breakfast or lunch or dinner, depending on when they come in. And it's just our way of giving back. So we're super grateful to be here. Thanks a lot for having us.
Hey, 1,200 meters. 1,200? Yep. Hey, Ma. Hey, Dad. Hey, Andrea. Jameson.
So teams left the mountain bike O course, Pancake Paradise, and then they continued to mountain bike in the dark. It was a mixture of trails and road, and they headed up to TA4, which is close to the Belknap Mountains. So as we went through the night, we saw the weather clear. One of the great things about adventure racing, you're just seeing this breadth of the day developing. So the sunrise this morning was fantastic. Great time of day for the adventure race. It's such a morale boost when you're coming from a long, dark night.
Yeah, we're feeling great now. So, but we had some problem with checkpoint A, so I think we lost 2-3 hours out there. So, but now we found it.
A lot of the teams pushing really hard to make this cutoff to get to the Belknap, which was kind of a blessing and a curse. They're coming off their bikes and they're heading back into another trek section, and going from their previous trek section, which was extremely tough navigation, really dense undergrowth and really hard going. I'm sure they were super anxious, although pushing really hard to get to that cutoff and back into what was going to be another really hard trek. Although once they get in there, they're going to find lots of trails to follow and hopefully make it out the other side a little bit easier than that first trek.
Which way do we want to go, north or south? Which way is this? North is this way.
Yeah, overall it was a good trek. Challenging, but good. And now we're off to do another long bike leg. Should be good.
Prefer the rain. I'll say let it rain.
The heat is the killer. We're wet from sweat anyhow.
I'm really excited for the paddle. Yeah, I think all 3 paddles on this race look like a lot of fun and pretty distinct. So I'm excited for that. Not super excited to get back on my bike, but it'll be fine by the time we get there.
Teams dropped their bikes west of town a few miles and they continued on foot through the historic mill town of Dover, New Hampshire. And here we are at the waterfront in Dover. It's on the Cocheco River. Teams have a 17-mile kayak through estuaries, bays, and a tidal river to get to the town of Newmarket, New Hampshire.
There are a couple teams that have already started heading down the Cocheco River. They're going to be going under a couple of bridges and then heading upriver. Unfortunately, the timing's not worked out. They're all heading against the tide, so it's going to be a pretty long paddle for them.
There's so much variety in New England. It's great to have Summit Fever Media, Randy Erickson, Alex Sochi from Brazil, so we can share this area with the world. And that's one of the drivers for us in doing this race. We want to represent what we have here, our playground, to the whole world. Yesterday was a very hot day, unusually hot for New England, even in the summer. And sometimes with hot temperatures, once it cools off into the evening, there's storm systems that develop, and that's exactly what happened for our racers. So on the paddle leg, there were thunder, lightning storms. It got pretty windy.
It was lightning, so we took shelter under the bridge for a couple hours. A couple hours. Just trying to stay warm, waiting for the storm to pass.
Racers were on the bike and tie, which is one bike shared across the entire team. And that creates an imbalance where they're trying to deal with maybe one biker takes the bike, the one who needs the rest, while the rest run. Maybe they put all the packs on the racer who's got the bike. At any rate, teams need to figure it out, strategize. And at a late point in the race like this, that can be difficult. And then when the storm comes, it gets all the more difficult.
We're hoping that we weren't going to get hit. It looked like it was off. But we did, so we pulled over for a little bit.
On a race that's this long, it's only practical to have alternate courses so that shorter teams aren't out there for 2 weeks or longer. The teams then on these alternate courses were almost from the very beginning racing against the clock to try and beat the cutoff one at a time.
You have to be out of here by 6 a.m.
Yeah,
and we'll be gone in
20 minutes.
Congratulations, you guys. Well done. Okay, I'm going to give you your max. Okay, you have to leave me by 6 a.m.
When that storm hit, the paddlers, for the most part, they had found shelter already because they're experienced on the water and they know the most dangerous place to be in a storm is on the water. So they had found little coves or a shelter, gotten off of the water.
Yeah, we pulled into this bay and storm started coming down bad.
But it was low tide, so we beached. And then right when we got off on that island, the storm came in.
And it rained.
So we built a quick fire, built a makeshift little shelter to get out of it and rode it out.
Meanwhile, Untamed New England are on the final leg of the course, paddling 18 miles to where the Atlantic meets the Piscataqua River.
Put your pants back on.
Look at Mindy's arm.
Oh.
Yeah. That was number 3.
How did that happen?
Was the 3rd time she fell.
Oh, I just fell.
First thing she says when she hits the ground is, I'm okay, let's keep going!
But she's still rolling.
Yeah, you know, the whole course, everything was perfect. The only thing is he could have called off the rain a little. I think getting chased the whole time was blessed. You know, we're always looking behind us to see where they were.
So I organized the orienteering relay. So it's a 4-person relay, so each person has to go alone and do the navigation on a orienteering map that's very detailed. So they have to really watch the details to find the navigation.
A little trouble with 1 or 2 of them. So I think the dibbler was taped to the back of a tree, so I think he was just trying to be tricky.
Critical thing about this part of the race right now is sleep management plans are starting to come in.
Good night. This will be the best sleep ever right now.
One night it was in the canoe that we were paddling, and I kept seeing architecture everywhere. I'd be like, wow, I see this almost like old ancient castle with moss growing up. And I'm like, wow, that's so pretty and amazing. And then I blinked and I'm like, oh, that's just trees. And then, oh, I see a bridge up ahead, and oh, that's just trees. I thought I saw a bear, and it was a rock and a stump. Anyhow, it was really fascinating what the brain does when it's sleep deprived.
Let's hug it out. It's cold, it's good. What about? Congrats. Wow.
You had a good race.
It was fun racing against you.
Yeah, you too.
Against any other team, man. That was a battle on the race course.
So the top teams, Untamed, Rootstock, Checkpoint Zero, they're completing the full course. But for the majority of teams, I'd say 80%, they've been cut off and are on a shorter course. So even teams that are on these shortened courses, to complete that is still a phenomenal achievement. And for many, that's all they're trying to do is reach that finish line no matter the circumstances.
Food and beer, yes. Yes, please.
I'm Peter Sawtell, owner of Seven Rivers Paddling. We're providing the water safety. So we're here just making sure all the teams make it through. It's really important races like this to make sure there's good safety. And so that's why we're here. I've got a team of about 6. We're all kind of different spots. And we've been working with also the guys over in Mahoosic. Up north, they're providing great safety in the wilderness as well.
This is Chris and Brian from Mahoosic Search and Rescue Team.
Last night we had the last few teams being chased by a huge thunderstorm, another one in this race. So they were hustling to get to this finish line as the sun was setting. Four teams who were caught by the dark zone for safety on this river. The Piscataqua River has extreme tides and they could not paddle it at night, so they enjoyed one more night on this race course, camping under the stars. The rewards for another night spent on the course was a beautiful morning. Sunshine, nice breezes, and the teams had the tides at their back as they paddled to the finish line.
Really to see New England.
Yeah,
fantastic. Great race course.
And we did well. We did well as a team, work together, and actually finished the whole course, which was a big deal for us. So.
So all the racers are off the course. And even though many people said this couldn't be done, a race from the summits to the seas, we did it. These racers, they're bulletproof. We threw everything we could at them. Towering mountain peaks, impenetrable forests, Water, white water, water from the sky, cold temperatures, hot temperatures, the sun, navigation challenges, mountain biking, strategic choices, orienteering all along the way. Congratulate all the finishers.
That's a very cool finish.
It's beautiful. The sun was fantastic, everything about it.